Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to play a game, rapid 10 plus 5 minutes second increment. For this game, I wanted to be instructive as well as creative. So I'm gonna play it slowly and explain each move's idea and thoughts behind it. So let's go. Okay, so I'm playing white, and my opponent is Maxim779, who's a 1900 rated player. So I'm gonna start my move with one F4. I, I mean, you obviously think it's a bit awkward for me to start with 1F4 because the main ideas are basically E4 and D4. But then, because I'm playing F4, this is the outflank pawn and it's controlling E5. So my opponent played D5, controlling the E4 square. So I'm just gonna develop my knight to F3. This basically creates a center control on my E5 square, and he tries to defend it using F6. Not the brightest move, but I would take. And now I just want to go with my simple plans like e3, moving out my bishop, my knight out, my pawn, bishop. So I'm just gonna play e3 to not complicate anymore. One more interesting thing is that he actually allowed me to get into this open file. If there's somehow I can get a queen h5 check, that would be pretty good. And he plays knight c6, which is a standard move if you think from black side, but this allows me to pin his bishop, pin my bishop onto his knight. And now, even though he's blocking his bishop with d7, I don't think it's quite good because I can just exchange off this bishop, and now his if my d4 square is quite strong, and later on I might do a pawn push towards the e5. Now he took with his bishop. Now I'll simply pinch it out my bishop with d3 and now bishop d2. That's my plan for now. Well, if you see, his bishop is not very good placed because it's on c6, which not is a good square. Should be probably even be in bishop d7 or maybe bishop g4. That would be pretty good for him. But he has to take a two move maneuver for that to happen. And then his knight is also stuck. He needs to go knight h6, knight f7, knight d6 kind of a maneuver to get his knight into the game. His pawns are not pushed. His bishop is very weak. And if he wants to castle, he might need to do a queenside castle over here with bishop queen d7 or queen d6 and a castle. And my position is quite strong because I can do a kingside castle. I can play d3, bishop d2, knight c3, anything I want because my position is quite flexible in this one. So I feel my position is much better because I have more piece activity and I have more space to play around with rather than my opponent who has a very close position and has two bishops for it. I have my knights, so I think it's closed. And I believe if somehow I can get to my e6 square, that will be pretty good. Yeah, and he plays e6. Now there's a slight weakness on e6 square. It's an isolated pawn. There's no one to support it, and even if he gets his bishop back, I don't think it should be a much big of a problem for me. So I'm just gonna pinch it to my bishop for now, and later on maybe try to put pressure along this diagonal if possible. So let's just do that. Next, I'd probably like to castle and maybe try to build pressure towards the e6. So knight goes knight h6, which is not very good move as I mentioned earlier. And now I would probably want to go for a good move, maybe like something like knight d4, which he will probably respond with bishop d7, and then maybe a queen h5 check and get my queen back and weaken his pawn even more. Uh, well, I just believe I can also play d3, my nb2 for better support for my knight. I can probably castle here, but I don't want to castle because I'm not sure where is he gonna commit his king towards, to those the king side or the queen side. So I'm just gonna play d3 and be a slave player right now. And maybe I'll go a knight out. Then maybe if he castles king side, I can go for a queen side castle, and otherwise not. I can just do a king side castle and keep my kings. One more thing to notice over here is that his knight is very weakly placed, and even if he can't get his knight out to f5 or any other good square in this match. So I think I can just start pawn storming like maybe h3, and then after that g4, g4, then g5 maybe if somehow. Okay, now there's a queen d6. So I think he wants to commit for a queenside castle. So I can start pawn storming towards the queenside with these blank pawns, and my center control is quite strong. And right now my knight is not developed, so I can either commit it to knight c3 or I can go to knight d2. So I'm not sure where should I put it right now because it depends on the position and his king placement. So I'm just gonna castle for now and not take any risks and be safe. And you might be thinking that there might be a knight g4 idea trying to attack towards to attack towards my e3 square, but it's not a big of a problem because I can just play uh, queen e1, which protects this pawn and later on allows me to get into his king side if he queen side if he castles now. So maybe he might go for a bishop e7 next, and even he'll have flexibility about taking a queen side castle or a long side. And now he has attacked towards my c2 pawn and my e3 pawn. So I believe I can. Yeah, I don't have any problem with taking here right now. So we'll just take I believe that. I can maybe pawn push, but then that'll weaken over here. And maybe after that I don't have any good moves. I really want to do some tactics if possible over here. I don't think that's true. Well, I can actually I think of a move that is knight e4. And if he takes with his knight, I just take with my pawn. So if he takes this pawn, I take his pawn, and it's an equal position. And my queen is much stronger over in that position. And if we play something like bishop e7, I can just play bishop a6. That eyes towards his bishop e7. So I believe it's a good move. And I'm protecting both my c2 pawn and my e3 pawn at the same time. And if he doesn't exchange, I can just exchange off for this f5 knight and double his pawns for my very good pawn structure. So I'll just play that and we'll see where this game proceeds. Yeah, as I told you, it's basically forced for him to take. So I'm just gonna take with my e pawn. And if he doesn't, even though I have double pawns, um, my pawns are quite strong. Okay, so he takes what I was telling. So I'll just take this pawn, and now there's a check. So if he moves his king, it's not that good. And if he plays bishop e7, perhaps I can just play bishop a3. Yeah. So after bishop a3, I'm just winning a free piece at this point because there's no way you can stop this attack right now. Because if you play something like queen c5, I can. It's quite a silly move that I can just take with my pawn or my bishop. So basically, at this point, if he chooses to castle, which he can't actually, he'll just lose a piece. So it's basically a dead winning for white, or maybe slightly less losing for black. But I believe it's a completely one position. It's a forced checkmate because you can't castle long or short because my queen is eyeing down both his c8 and g8 points. So it's basically a triangulation, and I can just take his bishop anytime and I can win this. There's no way he can actually defend this position. So it's a completely dead win for me right now. So any move he plays, I'll either get a free pawn, a free piece actually. If he plays something like king d8, I can just take this, and after he goes somewhere to king c8, which is forced, I'm just a piece up. And later on, I'll just try to get something good out of it. Or maybe instead of when he plays king d8 or f8, I can just take with my bishop, which forces him back to e8, and then maybe I'll try to sacrifice my bishop and get a free pawn in that case. So my opponent's thinking about it right now. So you can see that even though I played a very unusual move, one f4, which is not very played in the high levels, but then if you can force your openings into playing normal, decent looking moves, you can get them into a fix, and you can actually crush them using your tactical abilities. Because in this case, when I played one f4, my objective was not only the e5 square but to develop, and maybe if he castled king side, I could have got my rook lifts, like maybe rook f3, rook g3, rook h3, and maybe got my other rook as well. So f4 is an opening which is quite devastating if you don't know how to play against it. So as you can see, he resigned because there was no win against it. So I hope this was a very instructive game from my side, and hopefully you learned something about the new opening or any other tactical ideas which you might have seen in the game. So I'll see you in the next game, and hopefully you'll and please like, share, and subscribe to my channel for such other games and other analysis. I do analysis in my channel as well of top tier games, and I can look into your games as well. Just comment down your game or your username. We can play, or I can teach you something about chess as well. So keep playing, keep learning, and keep playing chess. And have fun. Bye.